Applying to jobs used to mean printing CVs, going to each different location and handing them in personally. Today, I can apply to 50 different jobs just before breakfast. Are we getting smarter or just lazier? Welcome to another episode of the SonOfA podcast. I'm your host as usual, Gabriel Chavier, and I'm joined by my dad today, Albert.
I am your father.
There we go. And in today's episode, we're talking about looking for jobs using AI. I feel like kind of basically like everything surrounding AI is kind of a controversial topic, and it's very divided and torn between two different sides of yay and nay. And today we will find out kind of my dad's opinion. I think if you guys are avid viewers, you will know what my dad's opinion is going to be, and we will kind of get tips on how to do it if we would do it. So you want to say anything before we crack on, my dude?
Nothing, man. Let's get job hunting.
Perfect. So obviously you are an employer and you do interview people for kind of job vacancies in your company.
I do.
So as an employer, would it bother you to find out that the person you're interviewing used AI to write their CV?
Not really, not at all. I do have to be very clear at first, and I have to be quite transparent in this sense. I'm a slightly atypical employer in the sense that I don't really give a damn about a person's CV.
Mm-hmm.
I care more about their personal statement and maybe their letter of application rather than what's on the CV and their experience. Having said that, if the letter of application is very stale, I do tend to discard it pretty quickly.
Okay.
At my work, we're not such a huge company that we don't have that many amazing amount of vacancies yearly that we need to use an automatic system.
Mm-hmm.
So all our applications are pretty much screened manually. But I don't mind. I mean, you can tell when somebody's using AI because I don't normally check it thoroughly. But I don't mind. I'm perfectly happy with an AI application form or an AI CV or whatever.
Fair enough. And why does it not bother you? Because I feel like what most people or what most employers think when they see people have used AI is, well, why would I kind of give you my time if you haven't even bothered to write the CV yourself for me? You know what I mean? Why would I even bother to give you the attention?
Yeah, well, that's a great point. It really is a great point. There's a lot of people that spend a lot of time tailoring their CV and sculpting it to bring out their best. In my case, I'm not saying that CVs are useless because you do need them to be able to have a pre-selection of personnel. But what I care most about is the interview stage.
Yeah.
Right. I'd rather have 30 applicants to one job and interview all 30 than have to decipher or try to look through the CV into the person that I'm going to interview. See what I mean? It's obviously not really possible when you have a lot of applicants. You can't physically interview everybody. It's impossible. And that's why CVs exist, but I wish they didn't. I'm not a fan of CVs, and the reason why CVs exist.
Mm-hmm.
Right? In my line of work, I'm lucky in the sense that mostly we hire teachers because it's a school. Teachers have to be qualified, so it's very, very easy to base. The first thing you look is at qualifications. If they don't have the qualifications you need, you immediately throw that CV away because you're not going to hire that person. They have to be qualified. Whereas when we hire for other jobs, for the accounts department or for maintenance or the cleaning department, I don't look at qualifications. I practically don't. Even if it's for a supposedly qualified post like finance or accounts.
Mm-hmm.
Terrible to say because those poor people spend years like you at university getting their qualifications. But I'd rather teach somebody on the job, even if they know nothing, and having a good person to teach rather than have a really bad, very qualified person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I completely get that.
So
the problem with AI is that when it generates documents and stuff, it gets what's on the internet. So it kind of copies what's on the internet, and basically out of everything that it's seen, it creates its own version. Do you think that because it does this, it makes CVs more generic and kind of copy and paste basically, but just different versions of the same thing? Or do you think they actually improve them?
No, I think it makes them generic, and to be honest, that's exactly what you want. Because 80% of companies do, because 80% of companies do use automatic systems, and those systems are looking for generic emails or for generic CVs. They're looking for specific, very, very specific keywords that have been fed into that system. And you don't want an original, super flamboyant, super original CV that nobody's ever seen before, because it's gonna be thrown away straight away. Yeah. You want a very, very generic CV that you know for a fact is gonna get picked up by these systems and moved on to the next stage.
So I kind of guess the simpler the better then, no? Kind of for CVs.
Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah, you have to format them and word them for these systems, basically. And to be honest, they're like that for a reason, because they're easy to read as well. Even if they're not going to be screened by an automatic system, if they're going to be read by a person like me, you want something that at a glance you can immediately look for find the information you're looking for. Yeah, you don't want to have to read paragraphs and paragraphs of words just to see if this person is qualified or not.
Yeah. So I kind of guess if the company's using AI to screen and to kind of get rid of the monton, like, I don't know how to say that in English, get rid of the big like a bigger chunk of people. I guess it's only fair if you yourself use AI, don't you think? I mean, like, kind of levels the playing field a bit.
I do. We don't have an automatic system at work, but whenever we do have apply for a teaching position, and I'm privy to that selection process. I'm not always, granted. I'm a school administrator. I am not a teacher. I'm not a head teacher, so I don't necessarily have to be involved in every single teaching post that we advertise. But if it's a middle leadership position above, I do. And in that case, when we do receive a lot of applicants, the first thing I do is download all those applications, and I feed them into AI so it can screen them for me and give me a rundown of at the very least, I tell it to screen out the people that aren't qualified.
Yeah.
And that saves me hours and hours and hours of work, believe me, of having to tediously scroll through CVs.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Fair enough. Sorry, just want to quickly interject there. What do you mean by middle management? Sorry, this is not with the best on the top of that. I'm just curious.
In a school like ours, middle management is anything from coordinators upwards, subject coordinators, key stage coordinators. All that's middle management. Then you have senior management, which are the heads of department, head of secondary, head of primary, and that's within the academic realm. Then you have supervisors in the the admin department, the head of office. All those are middle managers.
Okay. Sorry, I just didn't know what you meant by that. So
you have middle managers, then you have senior managers. That's the SLT, the head of. And then you have the executive management, who is me and Manuela, the ones that run the school.
Yeah. Okay.
That's the executive.
Perfect. And I guess if let's say theoretically you were job hunting today, how would you use AI to kind of help you along the process, or maybe with the CV, or just
Oh Lord! If I was job hunting, I would break it down into various steps, and I would use AI through every single one of those steps. The idea would be to apply to the best companies possible, to the most companies possible, and to do it with the least amount of effort.
Okay.
Right. And when I say least amount of effort, I mean that I don't mean don't put your heart and soul into it. Right. If you're job hunting, if you're searching for a job that's going to be paying your salary and going to be your place of work for the 40 hours a week, you want to make sure that you find the right place.
Yeah.
And that means that normally requires a lot of time and a lot of dedication.
Yeah.
But the effort you put into creating your CV and applying doesn't have to be that much. with AI. So what I would do, I would suggest, first of all, if you've never applied for a job, like say if you, in your case, if you're still at university, you're applying for your first job somewhere just to get some money, or if you've just finished university and you want to join the market for the first time in your specialty, what I would do is feed my qualifications to an AI system, Claude, ChatGPT, Gemini, and ask and tell it to review you and say, what do you think I'm suitable for? And maybe have a little interview with them. Ask me questions about myself, and give me an idea of what's my skill level, what would I be suited for, and what kind of company I should be looking for. That's the first thing. Then after that, seeing as I've already fed that information to the AI, I would ask it to make a generic CV. Using all that information, I would say, give me a proper CV that would be suitable for these automatic applicant systems. Formatted properly, and with the specific keywords that these systems are looking for. Right? It can do that for you in literally 5 minutes. Whereas before, in my time, creating your first CV was days, literally. Days of drafting, throwing away, creating draft. This is, as long as you feed it the proper information, right? Your qualifications, your experience, what you're good at, what you think you're bad at, your extracurricular activities you did at school, your hobbies. If you do that properly, it'll give you a paper perfect CV. Right. So that's the second step. And that saves you hours and hours of work. After that, if you're joining the market for the first time, the job market for the first time, or even if you aren't, you want to get yourself online. You want to get some presence. And in this day and age, really what that means is LinkedIn. Which 90% of the job market now uses LinkedIn. When you start applying for jobs, your future employees are going to look at your LinkedIn profile. And again, you can have a very simple LinkedIn profile. You can upload your photo, your name, and your email address and leave it at that. Or you can have a proper professional LinkedIn profile. And that's where AI comes in. Right? Again, you fed this information. Now you have a CV, right? So you scan your CV and you upload it to your AI tool. And you say, use my CV to create a LinkedIn profile. And it'll do it for you. It'll give you a header. It'll give you an about section. It'll give you a skills section that you can add. And then, of course, it'll say upload the CV. And it creates a beautiful, beautiful LinkedIn profile. That you can see already. If you walk around, if you take a little virtual tour of LinkedIn and you randomly start clicking on people's profiles, you will immediately be able to filter out all those AI profiles because they're all exactly the same.
You think?
They all exactly the same. They all use the same words. They all use the same structure, and they're all the same. Immediately you can tell. Even up to the post, you can use AI to start posting on LinkedIn. Which is one of the most recommendable ways to get discovered on LinkedIn by future employees is create posts that are relevant to your area of expertise. Use a lot of keywords in those posts, and they're very, very, very easy to weed out all the fake posts, all the fake AI posts, because they're lacking any kind of personality.
And do you not think that's kind of, talking about the LinkedIn profile case and in the about section, don't think that's a bit detrimental to your case? Because if you're, if your employer that's going to do your interview or whatever, if you've gone past that stage already, looks at the LinkedIn profile and they're like, oh, another fucking AI.
Here's another profile. One.
Don't 100%. Think they would be like, let's not even bother with this guy. You know what I mean? Like,
that's totally, in my case, totally true. If I, as opposed to your CV, which has to be very, very specifically tailored so that it passes the automatic systems and moves you on to the interview stage or the next stage of the selection process, LinkedIn profiles are most likely going to be looked at by a human. Not, either a recruitment agency or an HR person, or if the company is smaller, then it's going to be the person that will be eventually your boss. and if they have experience in recruitment, they will immediately say this guy's created a LinkedIn profile automatically with an AI, and basically what that tells me is that you're being lazy and you're not putting it basically a reflection of the employee I'm going to hire.
Yeah.
You don't want automatic. You don't want an automatic system. You want something that has your personality in it. Doesn't mean that you can't use AI to create your LinkedIn profile. You just have to make sure that when it does do it, you tweak it to add your own
little flair.
Exactly, your little flair. You said it exactly.
Little je ne sais quoi.
And the same goes for posts. I'm sick. I look at LinkedIn every day, and that je ne sais quoi that you say is practically not there in most posts. They're boring. Even if they put visuals on their posts with little slides and things like that, those slides are also AI created, and they mean nothing to me. There's very few posts that I look at and think like, oh, here we go. Here's a little tidbit of information. Most of them are boring anyway. But then when I look at people's profiles, if I see that I'd rather see a rather empty profile that has been done by the person rather than have a hugely complete profile that's been copied and pasted from an AI system that doesn't really say much.
Yeah.
Hey, and I include myself there, huh? I'm very lazy for this kind of thing. I'm lucky enough to be pretty stable in my job, so I don't really care who looks at my LinkedIn profile.
Yeah.
But if I did, the first thing I would do is tweak the crap out of it to make it a little bit more human and less corporate.
Yeah, it's fair enough. And do you have any more kind of tips or steps?
Oh yeah, I mean that's only like the second, third step. After that, after you have your online presence, you actually have to start applying for jobs.
Yeah.
Right, and then this is where AI really, really, really shines, because you have platforms that are specifically made for this. Right, it's not just ChatGPT asking ChatGPT, but you can ask ChatGPT to look at your profile, to feed it your CV, feed it your LinkedIn profile, and say, give me a list of 20 companies that I would like to work for. Right, and then you can even say, I want my base salary to be whatever, 30,000 euros a year or 40,000 euros a year, and give me companies that are willing to pay that. So just with one quick sentence, you can do that, and then it'll give you companies that you can directly apply to, right? So if you want to work for Microsoft, you don't have to go through LinkedIn or anything like that. You can go to the Microsoft site, look at the careers section, and see if there's something there for you. But really, what I would suggest is that you find a platform, and there's quite a few of them out in the market, that will help you look for a job. You upload your CV, you create a profile similar to LinkedIn. LinkedIn's one of them. And then it'll offer you jobs, open posts that are related to your area of expertise. And all that these days, before it used to be just a huge data bank that you could scroll manually and filter out. Now it's done with AI. And AI is very, very good at getting you, feeding you, matching you, and hopefully applying. And it's a huge job market, because it's if you're willing to go remote or if you're willing to relocate, possibilities are endless.
Yeah,
which is great. Also makes it harder because there's many more applicants.
Yeah.
And then after that, once you do get your CV out there, once you do apply for jobs, and eventually you land your first interview, well then along comes AI again. Right? To be your interview coach. You just say, act as my interview coach and start asking me questions. I think Google has a service, in fact, that will actually listen to you and give you feedback, with your voice, the way you're speaking, your communication skills, and it will train you to pass your interview, first interview. And I think that's really invaluable, because interviews are hard to come by in this day and age. It's not like you're once you start applying to jobs, you're not going to get interviewed every day.
Yeah.
And so if you have one interview a month, you want to make sure that you at least have a passing chance at getting that job. So you don't want to screw up your very first interview if you really want that job. So you want to make sure that you go in well prepared, and AI can be perfect for that. Absolutely
Yeah.
perfect for that. So yeah, AI is your job hunter's best friend. To be honest, there's absolutely no reason why anybody should want to or feel the need to go old school. Absolutely not a single reason not to use AI to do your job. I think we had our episode a few weeks ago about creating your first CV.
Yeah, we did.
We didn't go into AI systems at that time. I think we mentioned them as far as creating your CV, so you would.
Yeah, we slightly mentioned them,
but I don't think we mentioned the actually making your CV with AI. Otherwise, it would have been a 30-second episode.
Yeah.
You don't actually have to do anything. But the second stage after that, it's a good episode to watch because you need to know the structure that a CV has to have for it to be successful. And it's not a bad thing that your first CV you do by hand, just to get a practice on that. But after that, rip it up and feed it to AI and just say, make my own, because there's no reason for you to make it. There really isn't. There's no reason for you to make your own CV, to be honest.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. I mean, also, especially, I feel like if everyone's doing it, you're kind of putting yourself at an unnecessary disadvantage, you know?
Yeah.
Especially if you're applying to a huge company that does do the automatic AI filtration system where they're looking for keywords. Yeah. Ultimately, you have a higher chance of making it through with when you're using AI.
It's true. It's true. To be honest, it's a bit sad. It's a bit sad because these systems are pretty standard. I've never used one, but I do know that they're incredibly customizable for each job application that you can tweak them so that they know exactly what it is that they have to look for. However, I get a feeling that it's one of those systems that because they're so incredibly customizable, there's probably hundreds of parameters you can tweak to be able to get the applicant you want.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that most people don't take the time to do that. They probably get automatic templates or something, right? So if you want a template for an accountant, so then you feed it to the system and immediately start screening using that template. I'm guessing. What's the problem with that is that you automatically miss out on a potentially huge amount of really good human applicants.
Yeah.
And this is what I was getting at before as to I'd rather interview 70 people that aren't qualified and find one person that I like than throw away 70 CVs without even looking at them, because the CV doesn't really tell you what the human element's going to be. And as a company leader, I can tell you that we work with humans, and the human element, to be honest, it should be first. The CV should be last. If I had a perfect recruitment system, I would actually start from the end.
Yeah.
Start meeting the human first, and then after I find one, I'd say, okay, show me your qualifications and show me your CV. But it doesn't work like that, unfortunately. And I really do think that a lot of companies are missing out on really, really good people because of these automatic systems. They're not trained properly. I think those systems are probably not trained properly, and they throw away a lot of really good people.
Yeah, I completely agree. Do you have any more tips, or would you kind of using AI to help you with the interview be the last one?
Yeah, I think that would be the last one, because after that, once you do have the interview, then it is human to human. However, I do know you have AI interviewers as well.
Really?
Yeah.
How does that work?
Well, it's like a chatbot, isn't it? It's like a chatbot in a website or in a shop or anything like that. You have you have an AI system that's trained to look for specific skills and specific keywords, and you can either type the interview. Those I've seen before, when a little chatbot comes up and you type in your answers, and it makes you elaborate on your answers and ask you certain questions. But nowadays you can also get them in voice. So you talk to somebody that's some dude with a really sexy voice asking you, so what's your experience in this? And again, it's looking for keywords. It's looking for voice patterns. It's looking for a minimum amount of us and ours. And I suppose you can also prepare for that. I'm not really sure. I've never done it, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what's the difference.
Just quickly, do you know if this would be like the final stage of the screening, or would this be just another screening process and then you would actually have to go on to a real...
No,
person that interviews you?
I would say that that's the last stage.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of companies do have a lot of stages within their interview process.
Yeah.
Depending on the size of the company and the size of the post, the responsibilities that your post has, an interview is only the beginning of the proper process.
Yeah.
Right. The interview is just a very basic thing to get to know you. Then you might have a practical exam to see if you have any your hands-on experience. In your case, you're a mechanical engineer. You might have a practical exam to design something, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you might have various interviews with different people within the company. You might have an interview with your direct supervisor, and then with theirs, and then with depending.
Yeah.
Depending, but really, once you get the person to person, there's nothing much you can do with AI after that. It's just a matter of having trained properly.
Yeah.
And your own.
Fair enough. So just in kind of to summarize all the tips, could you kind of give like a header for each tip?
Yes. So a header for each one. First is a self-assessment with AI,
mm-hmm.
right? Get AI to do a little assessment for you. Step 2 is build your CV, create your CV with AI. Step 3 is create your online presence using AI.
Mm-hmm.
Step 4 would be using AI to find vacancies out there with the platforms that are available. Step 5 would be applying for jobs with using AI. Okay, so getting we touched on this very, very briefly, but what you would have to do is every time you apply for a post, don't always upload the same CV. Feed the job description to your AI and ask it to redo your CV according to that job description so that it fits that job description. And that's really, really super valuable, including because it would just tailor the wording, the keywords on the CV to match that job description, and also to create a cover letter that's tailored for that job description and for that particular company. That's great. That's really, really good. So that'd be the 5th step, using AI to apply for your jobs. And then finally, using AI to help you prepare for an interview. Okay. So those are the 6 steps.
Obviously, there'll become a point where everyone uses AI to apply for jobs and create their CV and everything like that.
Yeah.
Don't you think that'll kind of cancel out the advantage, and it'll kind of just turn into you don't want to be at a disadvantage,
Yeah. Yeah, it turns everybody the same. And this is going back to what I was saying before. You lose the human element.
Yeah.
In the application process, and turns us all into marks on paper, really. Which is a pity. I find that a real pity, because ultimately, whether you're working online, whether you're working remotely or not, you're going to be working with humans, and that human interaction is invaluable when it comes to finding a good applicant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I completely agree. Well, I think that's a great place to leave it off, don't you think?
I think so. Are you going to start applying for jobs now, my son?
When I get back to Ireland, yes, definitely.
Do you have a CV?
Yes, I do.
Have you created it yourself or with AI? Yeah, I know you showed it in the last episode.
Well, I'm pretty sure I used AI to help me create it.
I would encourage you, and this is your father talking to you. Mm-hmm. I would encourage you to feed that CV back to ChatGPT so it can scan it for you. And I really would, even though you're only you're about to finish your 2nd year at university, it's a great time to get your LinkedIn profile up and running. Mm-hmm. It really is, because the more time you spend on LinkedIn, the more the algorithm will like you.
Yeah.
So it's not a bad thing, and get a couple of these AI posts going as well, so that to start getting your presence up there. Seriously, do it.
Yeah. Okay. We'll do.
Do it. Maybe not today, but do it tomorrow. Or no, do it today. Why not? As soon as we hang up.
No better time than today, isn't it?
No better than today. It literally takes 5 minutes. Feed your CV, upload your CV to ChatGPT, and say, based on this CV, create a LinkedIn profile for me.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you have a
Sounds
LinkedIn
good.
profile? Do you have a LinkedIn
No,
account?
I don't.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah.
My man, are you my child or are you somebody else's? Come on, man. Get it up and
We had
running.
this discussion. It was me, you, and Fred over. Well, it was when was it? It was when at the beginning in the first semester. One of the times I went back for a week, and I was talking to you guys about having a LinkedIn profile and if I should create one.
We'll do it. Now it's a good time. Your second year, you're going into your third year at university, and next year you will have. I think you will do your internships and all that. At that time, it's a great time to get your LinkedIn profile going. So get it up and running.
Okay.
Get a nice sexy photo of yourself, and feed your CV to ChatGPT and tell it to do it for you.
Yeah.
Copy and paste, man. That's all it takes.
Sounds good. Will do.
And then you can send it to me and I'll review it for you.
Sounds great, man. Well, I think, like I said, this is a great place to leave it off. Yeah. We had some great tips from you, and I definitely learned a lot in this episode, and I'm pretty sure everyone that's watching has done as well. So thank you everyone for watching. We hope you enjoyed. We hope you learned something with me, and learning something from my dad. If you liked, subscribe and comment down below and leave a like button as well. Let us know if you think this is helpful for you guys, if you don't. And do you want to say anything before we sign off?
Nothing at all. Get applying, get your LinkedIn profile going, and subscribe to our channel because we need you.
Yes, we need definitely. You all. Thank you very much, and see you guys next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.